Trevor Milton is out. What does this mean for Nikola, GM, and the rest of the auto industry? Hey y'all, it's Dr. Know-It-All. This channel is dedicated to finding out whether I really do know it all or not. If you enjoy the episode, definitely make sure you hit the thumbs up button and subscribe for more of them. And also definitely make sure you subscribe because when we hit 500 subscribers, we're doing a giveaway, so soon. Okay, so breaking news. Early Monday morning, September 21st, 2020, Trevor Milton announced that he voluntarily resigned from his position. He's being replaced by Stephen Gursky, sorry, I had to look that up, who is a GM executive and has been on the board of Nikola Motors. So what does this mean for Nikola? Well, first of all, their stock has taken a huge plunge. I'll put a picture up here of what it is currently. Who knows? It's been tanking. I think it was 27% down in pre-market trading, and I'm recording this just as the markets open, so we will see what happens during the day. Also, in terms of Nikola, obviously the Hindenburg report that was released, I believe, 10 days ago right now, so I think it was the 11th of September, was absolutely devastating to Nikola. It said that they had a, quote, ocean of lies, ocean of fraud. So basically, there was no response from Nikola. They have not been able to refute most of the claims. I think they've refuted a couple of very small claims, but most of the claims that Hindenburg, released about them have either been confirmed or just silently ignored, including things like that they said that they had a working prototype vehicle truck, and basically what they did was they pulled it up a mountain and then released it, and they had a steering wheel that worked and I guess brakes that worked, but they took a video of it driving down a mountain, and that video was not under power, it was just rolling down the mountain. So these are all brutal allegations. They have not been refuted. So Nikola is in really, really deep trouble with the SEC. What does this mean for GM? Well, I've been saying privately, I haven't recorded an episode on this because it's just sort of like, what are you going to say? But I think at this point it might be worth stating, especially with a GM board member taking over the role, that I believe that GM, what they were doing is they were getting in on the name, if nothing else, a little bit of IP, but mostly the name, that essentially what they're going to do is create a sub-brand for electric cars. So something like the Chevrolet, right? That's a sub-brand of GM. They're going to create a sub-brand called Nikola Motors, and that's going to be their electric vehicle wing or whatever. And so therefore, this was a no-cost way for them to basically buy a really cool name with some buzz behind it and to get in on that. So I've been thinking for a while that that's true, and now I'm very, very convinced that this is true, that basically GM is going to kind of like, like an amoeba, it's going to absorb Nikola into itself. Stephen Mark Ryan has been saying that the way out for traditional ICE manufacturers is for them to create spin-off companies to put them out of business. So that may be, ultimately what GM is doing, that they'll still be GM, but that the Chevrolet brand and the Cadillac brand and the GMC brand and things like that will either disappear or will eventually take on a differently branded version of a Nikola electric motor car, because that's seriously the way things are going. Tesla has, accelerated that, but now you've got other companies like Lucid. There's a ton of Chinese companies that are coming out with inexpensive EV cars, and it's clearly the way things have to go. The infrastructure is not as complicated. The charging is not as complicated. It's much, much better for the environment to do battery-operated cars as opposed to internal combustion engine cars. So I predict that GM is going to utilize Nikola as their way of creating an electric car company that they can then just have, right? They have the name, and then they can either put the rest of the company out of business, or they can start to create whatever, the Nikola One or something like that, that eventually there will be a Chevrolet version of that car with a slightly different look to it or something. But essentially the powertrain will be the same, and they'll share it amongst their brands. So that's two options, and I don't know which one will happen. They might just become GM/Nikola or something like that eventually. But I predict that probably they'll try to keep the legacy names in play. I think it's a really good move on GM's part. Like I said, I've been predicting it privately for a while now, but I'll predict it publicly here for sure. And what does this mean about the rest of the car industry? Well, I think, it's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate that Nikola kind of is who they are. I'd say a bunch of shysters, basically, and fraudulent. But ultimately, I think this is probably going to be a good thing in the long run. I think that, like I said, if GM takes Nikola over and becomes that name and uses that name to create an aggressive EV branch of their own company, I think that's all to the good. I love Tesla. I want to get a Tesla. Many, many episodes I've talked about it there. Speaking of that, there was an episode in which I talked about the difference between Nikola and Tesla above there if you want to check that out also. But anyway, I do love Tesla. I think they're fantastic, but I'm also all for Lucid becoming a great company. I'm all for even like the Renault Zoe. I would love it if they had that in the United States. It'd be really cool to have an inexpensive electric car here. I know that Tesla eventually is going to release that, but I think in the meantime, it'd be great to have that. So the more competition there is, the more it's going to push Tesla, the more it's going to push all these other companies. So I think overall, this is probably good news. I had predicted very strongly that under Trevor Milton, there was not going to be an actual car released, that they were just doing a cash grab at Nikola Motors. They were taking as much money and as much stock as they could get, and then they were going to run with it. So I think this is ultimately a good thing that he's out and someone more responsible is in, and we will see what happens in the next 6 months, year, 2 years, etc., etc. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this. This was a quick episode. I just wanted to hit some breaking news. If you do enjoy it, definitely make sure you hit the thumbs up button and subscribe, because we'll be doing a 500 subscriber giveaway soon. And also make sure you ask me any questions you have in the comments or at my email address, which is drknowitallknows@gmail.com. Till next time, bye-bye.